a scion of many worlds. Before Jasper can start slaughtering, and Araminta pushes her way to the front and huffs at him. Oh please, like an Earthani of all things can actually do such things. This is some kind of farce, isn't it? A paid performer designed to look like some absurd... No, he says simply as he slices the woman into 2 pieces from the head to groin. This is real. I am real, and you are all in a great deal of danger. If I cannot use honor or diplomacy to turn you back, then violence shall be my method. His speech finishes as the 2 halves of the woman hit the ground and he sweeps his gaze over the shocked crowd. Bring forth all your commanders. I will best them all and have you sent home without needless slaughter. What's the matter, big girl? You afraid of us? I am a man, thank you. Not a woman. As to fear, no. I am a scythe in a field of wheat. The most that shall happen is my swords will need to be sharpened. Wheat? What is? A type of grain, Jasper says shortly. Now, am I doing the test of balance with the commanders, or am I spilling an ocean of blood? I'm willing to do either. You haven't finished ours, Lady Iridescent more asks than says. I have thrown you down twice. As you just saw, I could have killed you either time. Are you certain you desire another attempt? Jasper asks, and Lady Iridescent looks uncertain for a moment before her resolve visibly hardens. That's a yes. Jasper sheathes his still gleaming swords and returns to his position in the dueling circle. This is the final time. When I prove victorious, I will have your surrender or your life. You will not prove victorious. Your talk of waves and invisible light was strange, but I understood regardless. She promises, and he smiles. Excellent. This shall prove most entertaining, he says, holding out his claw. Then a thought passes through his mind. It's risky, but it would break enemy morale without killing too many. She powers up a ludicrous amount of light-based energy and hurls it at him. Instead of dodging or blocking, he simply opens his arms wide. Axiom flows over him to quell the blow, and he simply leans down and smiles at the intimidated noblewoman. I'm curious, what do you consider a punishment blow? He asks in a voice that carries. Let's find out. He allows the energy to push him back and onto the ground, making contact for only a moment before rising again as if nothing happened. Now then, show me what you call a wound. Are you insane? Lady Iridescent asks in a shocked tone. If I die, it is madness. If I survive, it is mere confidence. Let's put it to the test. Give your punishment wound. What? She asks, still shocked. Wound me, he orders her. Someone give her something sharp. I want to see what she can do. There's whispering and voices of concern and shock. But shortly Lady Iridescent is handed a spear. She levels it at his face and he smiles. She aims it a little lower even as he charges his skin and fur with Axiom. She clearly senses something, but resisting the blow clearly isn't against the rules as she says nothing before thrusting the spear into his neck. She fails to cut so much as a single strand of fur. Go on. He goads her as she channels Axiom into her muscles to try and force the spear in. Push, Lady Iridescent. Push. There's an almost involuntary snicker through the crowd. Come on, Lady Iridescent. You can do it. Push. There's outright laughter as she begins to shake under the strain of trying to stab him. If anyone were bothering to look at his feet, they would see he's literally holding his ground in order to not be pushed back or lifted up by the sheer force from the spear. Don't be afraid of a little blood and pain. Push. Pooh. Jasper's mockery is interrupted when the haft of the spear shatters and he has to catch the head so it doesn't spin into the crowd and kill someone. Well, that was entertaining. Are you done trying to wound me? You're a monster, Lady Iridescent exclaims. What? The push joke wasn't that bad, was it? He asks, and there's some snorts among the crowd. What kind of horror isn't hurt by a spear thrust to the neck? One that understands many things. Knowledge is power, especially when you can use axiom to manifest it. In this case, I had a force barrier around my neck. Think of it like a wall of invisible chainmail, but more so, Jasper explains. Now then, I believe we have another round. There has been neither death nor surrender. He conjures a ball of light on the infrared spectrum, and there's a sensation of heat and light that no one can see the source of. Lady Iridescent takes a step back. No, I'm outmatched. How, I don't understand, but I'm beaten. I surrender, she says, and he nods and lowers his hand. I accept your surrender and shall honor it. Now, I am to face the commanders, am I not? How many are there, and whom are they? There were 15, Lady Iridescent says. Were? He asks, before turning and looking at the bisected corpse. I see. Yes. Do you even know how a Miru army is organized or fights? I've heard something about champions. One such as myself crashes into the enemy army and the remaining forces back them up. Yes. Were you truly the champion? He asks, looking her up and down. The august Lady Clarity was a fight. This woman, perhaps she needs prep time, maybe an ambush or blitz specialist? Do you have any idea how absurd you are? Lady Iridescent asks, and he shrugs. I am undaunted. Every challenge I face is just another chance to improve myself. Even today, even now, this very moment I am learning, growing stronger and wiser. Jasper explains, and there's some trepidation. Regardless, the rest of the commanders, please. It takes a bit before the 14 remaining commanders come out of the crowd. He amends his understanding of this force. 1,500 fighting women, 15 commanders in charge of 100 each, the champion Lady Iridescent, and what seems to be a small secondary army that exists to feed this one and keep it moving. You would fight all of us? One of the commanders asks. Interestingly enough, most of the commanders appear to be of the fire element. Gladly. In fact, let's do it all at once. If you overwhelm me, then I learn a great deal. If you overwhelm me, come, let us test your balance. Are you insane? I am Jasper Blue. I'm not exactly certain how you mispronounce Jasper or Blue as insane, but we all have our ways, don't we? He jokes, and there's a pause. He then conjures a claw full of fire and agitates it as much as he can. It glows brutally hot. Fire is the element, is it not? Shall we? This is a trick, one of them says, and he smiles. Is it now? An interesting point of view, and what, pray tell, is the trick? He asks, tossing the ball of roiling fire in his hand. I don't know, but it can't be honorable. No Earthani has the courage to face up against even a single warrior, much less an army. Furthermore, whoever heard of any being knowing more than an irumenta of their own element? She calls out, and there's some angry muttering. We have 3 options, madam. We talk, we duel, or we fight. I am perfectly content with all 3, and the only reason I have not already begun with violence is that once it begins, there will be no more words, meaning no duels or diplomacy. It is, however, an option should you care to try it. He says calmly, drawing one of his 2 swords. Shall we? The group parts and the army reshuffles behind them. 2 of the fire arumenta are quickly brought weapons and armor as Jasper simply waits. There are glances at him the whole time, and he smiles. Oh no, don't worry. I want you at your best. That way there's no question. No question to what? Who's stronger? You need to stand as tall as you can so you can appreciate just how much you fail to compare, Jasper says, and he sees something inside one of the 2 snap. That's it. This has gone beyond funny into insulting. She levels a spiked mace at him. It's nowhere near as big as Clarity's. Kill the wretch! She charges alongside the second, clearly hoping to use the 2 to pin him, then bury him under bodies. It's even moderately clever, as he has a fireball in one hand and they're likely highly resistant to it. Unfortunately, being immune to the heat of fire does not mean asphyxiation isn't an issue. He deliberately collapses the fireball at them into a massive spray of flame that builds up bright and high, but nowhere near as hot as most would think. It still cooks a good half of the onrushing horde, and many of them dive away with screams even as he keeps the fire right in the face of the two most dangerous combatants. He catches their weapons on his sword and holds them with the flames blasting around them. In moments, they collapse to the ground, choking and gasping, only for his sword to come around and take two heads. Only then does he stop blasting the massive line of fire and beholds the devastation. Dozens of charred corpses, numerous casualties whimpering to the sides, and a very, very nervous-looking army. All told, it's a perfect statement. He smiles. "Well then, that was refreshing. Shall we continue?" he asks, drawing his second sword and giving both blades a twirl. The still red-hot armor and weapons of the dead soldiers stand out wonderfully on the burnt black glimpse into hell he's created. "You monster!" One of the commanders screams at him and blurs with shocking speed. He flutters his wings to pull himself backwards and out of the swing of her axe. He throws his left sword through her and pins her to the ground with the massive blade. 2 steps forward and he pulls the large weapon out of the now cooling cadaver. It breaks in two as he pulls his weapon up and out. A flick, and it's clean. So this would mean that 4 of the 15 commanders to this army are undone, yes. Every commander has 100 under her, he asks, and there's silence. He then slowly takes a stance to see the commanders debating among themselves. "Enough," Lady Iridescent commands. "I may be the champion and not the general of this army, but I'm taking executive control. We were sent to reinforce an unblooded force of Night Slayers with advanced weaponry. Our mission was to assist in tracking and penning in an unorganized mob of bandits. We have met a blooded enemy champion days out from our target, and they've placed the bandits under their protection. This is beyond our mission and far more than we can deal with. I cannot defeat someone who can burn those born of fire or dazzle the light-born. Jasper Blue, is the option to leave in peace still available?" "It is," Jasper offers, and she nods. "Then, on behalf of all of us, I accept. We shall leave for Fort Earthgrasp to report what has happened. What occurs beyond that is out of my control." "Very well," Jasper says, sheathing his swords. "I'm glad we could come to an understanding." He looks all the way around and sees there is little, if any, dissent in the ranks. They recognize the danger and want away from it. Good. Smart. "Tell me before you go, what are the odds of the generals and officers at Fort Earthgrasp taking offense to this? Will I be forced to meet another army?" "Yes, I don't know what will happen to us, but they will send an army out after you." She confirms and he nods. It will take a few days for them to organize and set out, and a few more after that to reach Aridus Valley. He'll see them coming a mile off, but the question is, can he accelerate the training enough until the former bandits can hold the passes? If they can, then he can break the command of the army and shatter the morale. If not, he'll have to get mean. "If I am forced to take the fort and find you imprisoned, then you can count on your safe release. Honor and integrity should be rewarded." "I don't understand you," Lady Iridescent says in a stunned tone as she looks him over with an odd expression. "Me? That's simple. I am undaunted. There is no challenge, no foe, no test, no trial, and no torment that I cannot overcome. Be it armies, nations, or even gods, I will not back down and I will not be beaten," he says before looking over the army again and nodding. "I shall take my leave now. Best of luck, Lady Iridescent." His wings snap out and he cracks them down to launch into the sky. He rides the momentum and preserves it with axiom until he reaches the cloud line. Invisible to those below and quickly among the rising pillars of condensation in the sky. The cold clears his nose of the smell of the fire, and the sheer rays of the sun feel as if they're piercing through his very being to wash away all doubt and hesitation. He looks away to the empty sky beyond and smiles. "What will you find when you get here, brother? So far it's a warlord, although it looks like there will be a king at this rate." He muses into the thin, crisp air and then lets himself drop through the clouds. He emerges out the other side drenched but invigorated as he directs his momentum to Aridus Valley. He then angles his wings back and runs axiom along them to propel himself forward, grabbing the air around him and launching ahead, like an inside-out jet engine. The bang as he pushes himself faster and faster scares him into a deceleration, so he can take a few moments to process that he just went supersonic. He raises his eyebrows at the idea and then slots it away into useful tools. "Always keep pushing. You never know what you might learn," he mutters to himself as he angles himself again and hurls himself at Aridus Valley. He doesn't quite have enough space to accelerate to a second sonic boom before he snaps his wings out and decelerates to a stop. His entire body is reinforced with axiom so he doesn't rip himself apart with the whiplash. Regardless, the feeling is good, very good. The funeral pyre is still burning, and he cannot help but think how amusing it is that he went from ending a potential slaughter with a fire to return to one mourning loss. How they would cheer at the burn mark he left on the terrain even while this place is used for mourning. Life is strange that way. He glances around and looks for Dusk before nodding to himself. She's standing stoically, acting as an anchor that he had been doing before leaving. "Excuse me, can we talk?" She nods and they take a few steps away from the crowd. He snaps out a wing to give a visual block to the conversation. "So is it true? Is an army approaching?" "Not anymore. They were just a few days' hard ride away from the valley and will now be heading to Fort Earthgrasp to report my forcing them back." "How good or bad is this?" "Fort Earthgrasp? It protects the Eastern Front. It's a major resupply and training base where fresh troops, weapons, and rations can always be found. My family used to supply a good percentile of the cloth and medicinal herbs used there. We'll need to speak more on this later, but right now I need to know how long it would take for an army to get from Earthgrasp to Aridus." "A week, no more," Dusk says, and Jasper mentally curses. That's not enough. "All right, so we have some time. After the funeral, I need to step up the training. Get them all ready to come together. I must speak with the heads of the order to see if they may have some trick or technique to allow me to speed it up. We need your girls to be skilled warriors yesterday." "That would take a miracle," she gasps. "My speciality," he answers as his mind starts whirling. Then he smiles as an idea forms. Of course. Now how to get it to work for others as it had for him. Or better yet, how to get it to work differently.